Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of our series, Identity. This morning I was praying and just asking God, what is something I'm really struggling with when it comes to my identity? And he said, Billy, you really hate the idea that you are needy. You hate the idea that you need others, whether it's in your finances or your job or your ministry, or even needing help to built a table recently, and a couple of guys helped out, especially one, Nathan, thank you, or with taking care of your kids, or advice on this or advice on that, or somebody was giving me advice yesterday, the other day this weekend on how to work out properly. And I was like, don't tell me what to do. I know how to do it. And I don't like being needy. Like I want to have all the answers. I want to secure my future. I want to be in control of my future. I want to know that everything's stable. Everything is set up for success. I want to reduce every risk, minimize every possible risk. I want to avoid all risk, so that kind of nothing bad can happen, because I feel at times the weight of the world on my shoulders to provide for my kids, take care of my family, get everything right, etc. And the fact that I just can't always achieve the things that I want to achieve and have everything the way that I want it to be, to achieve all those things, it makes me feel very needy, and I don't like feeling needy. So God said you don't like feeling needy with people, and in these situations I just mentioned to you. And he said that carries over into your relationship with me. You don't like feeling needy with me, and you might not always realize that consciously, Billy, but the truth is when you come to me, you hate that you can't just wave your magic wand and answer all the questions, because you don't always understand why I don't answer. You don't understand me completely. And by the way, if we understood God, then we'd be God, or he certainly wouldn't be God, himself, because we can't understand him. He's God. But he said, you don't like that you can't understand how I act. You don't always know what I'm saying. I'm not sitting there right next to you and you can see me and hear my voice audibly. You wish that things were more easy. And by more easy, what you mean, if you were to define it, would mean that you had more control, that you knew the future, that you knew how your finances were going to go, your job was going to go, your ministry was going to go, your impact was going to go, your kids' health was going to go, your kids' future, your kids' love for God or not. You wish you knew the future. You wish you could control the future. You wish that you could ask for something and it would just happen. And yet that's not how life works. And you really don't like that you need me so much. And it makes you feel less worthy. It makes you feel, Billy, like, if you get something, like if I give you a big blessing, Billy, you feel like you didn't earn it. And if I don't give a blessing, you feel like, what did I do to not earn it? And you're always bringing it back to yourself and feeling like you're the one that's got to make it happen one way or the other. And therefore, what that means is you don't like being needy. You don't like being dependent. You'd rather be independent. You don't like relying on somebody else, including God. And most importantly, and that is the most important, you don't like relying on me, Billy, on God. And he said, listen, Jesus in John chapter 5 said, I do nothing apart from my Father. And he says it twice. He says it in verse 30, towards the end of that section. He also says it in verse 19. And then in verse 20, he says, in fact, the Father will show me how to do greater works than even healing that man. Meaning, Jesus is essentially saying, I don't know how to do greater works yet, but the Father's going to show me how. So Jesus was living, he said, my son was on earth living in this perpetual state of need. What he's saying is, neediness is actually part of our identity as children of God. And the more that we run away from this identity of neediness and we want to avoid it and we want to do something in our life or achieve something in our life or build up, a big bank account or achieve a big position at work or, be a helicopter parent for our kids and make sure nothing bad happens to them. As much as we want to avoid being needy, he said, Jesus lived perpetually needy every second, every day. And not only that, that was part of his identity. And he says, part of your identity In fact, a very important part, a significant part, is how needy you are. And until you accept that neediness, extreme neediness, is a strong part of your identity, you're always going to struggle with your identity because you need. If you don't like being needy, but being needy is a big part of who you are, you're always going to struggle with identity, right? Right? So he said, instead, step into that neediness. That doesn't mean lay down on the couch and say, okay, fine, I'm needy. Give me everything I need, and I'm not going to lift a finger or do any work. No, what he's saying is, even as you work your very hardest and you do your very best and you try to listen to me and spend time with me, when things don't all go your way and you're still needy, no matter how hard you try and you're still needy, then know that that's part of your identity. Know I'm growing that in you. Know that that will always be there because you're always going to have to rely on me because Jesus always had to rely on me. So embrace it and just say, whether you want to scream it so everybody can hear, just scream it in your own spirit internally or your soul. I am needy. Jesus needed the Father 100% of the time. I need you 100% of the time. There's nothing I can do apart from you, just like Jesus. I'm going to go out. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do my best, but I need you. I can't earn the favor that you give me. I don't deserve it. So when you bless, I should just receive with joy. And there's nothing that I can do where, as long as I'm obeying you, etc., that I can say, well, if you're not blessing me, I must have done something wrong. No, we're just needy and we're perpetually in the state of being dependent on and relying on God. That is a part of who we are. Until we fully embrace that, we're always going to struggle with who we are because it is who we are. So there's freedom in that. There's rejoicing in that. There's joy in that. And it's just like a child. My children, they don't think twice. They don't have any shame. They don't feel bad about being needy. In fact, they come to me and say, Daddy, I need this. I need this. Help me, help me, help me. And I go, man, I love to as your father. And part of their identity is their need for me. And I love that. All right. I hope that encourages you.